Welcome, sentient beings from all known universes and beyond. It's time to activate your cranial downlinks and prepare to receive a raft of discussion on a cosmic ocean of science fiction and fantasy topics, interviews with local area genre devotees, and insightful prognostication by our soothsayers of science fiction, our forecasters of fantasy, and any other beings that happen to get caught in our gravity well. This is the Galactic Driftwood Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. I'm Bill.
I'm Linda.
I'm Charles.
I'm Seth.
And I'm Chris.
And we got kind of a fun show. We're going to be talking a little bit about Raised by Wolves, which is on HBO Max, and the new Adam Project movie out on Netflix. So let's see. I know Linda and I were not totally through Raised by Wolves yet, but we're near the end. And has anybody else been watching that?
Oh, yes.
Only the first season.
First season, okay.
Well,
the first season was interesting. And I think, Chris, you called this out when we were chatting before we were recording here, that it was interesting, kind of presenting a world that we hadn't seen before. And season one did a lot of world building, spent a lot of time world building, and punctuated with some exciting times when we saw Mother, who is the female android, sent to a new world to raise atheist children, because there's been this ongoing war on planet Earth between the atheists and this religious group, the Mithraics, that worship the sun god, or the sun. And
as God.
And basically this war has pretty much destroyed the planet. And so in the first season, we see the religious group. They have this giant spacecraft, which of course is called the Ark. So they've got all these people that are going to head to this Earth-like world that's a ways away. It's going to take them 20, or well, not 20, I guess. How old is the young kid? Probably 12, 15, something like 15,
that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's going to take them about that long to get there. The atheists also have their own ship that are going to be going there. But then the guy that's like the technology master for the atheists, he manages to reprogram one of the religious groups, super advanced androids, knowing that if he has like a small ship and he puts two androids in it, and they don't have to worry about life support because the androids don't need to breathe or eat, that the ship can be a lot smaller, a lot lighter, and therefore a lot faster. And they can put human embryos on it, send this ship at super fast speed, and it can get there 15 years or 14 years, whatever, before everybody else. And that these two androids then would make these embryos viable, grow them into children, and raise the children in the atheist way and get a head start on colonizing the planet before the religious group get there. So the first season goes along pretty well. The last episode is a little bit bizarre of season 3, and I think that may be because they weren't sure they were getting a season 2 at that point. But it did get renewed for season 2, so they've started up season 2, and it's a lot different. Season 1 was kind of in a very harsh, cold, not exactly wintry, but not exactly tropical either.
Desolate. Yeah.
Yeah, very desolate area. This season, they've moved everybody down to the tropical zone of the planet. And so where we take off in season 2, the atheists have arrived. They've set up a atheist collective there with a lot of people, a lot of stuff going on. And they're doing very well. The religious group was pretty much wiped out at the end of last season when Mother was driven to the point of madness by the religious group trying to steal her children because they didn't believe in children being raised by robots. And so she went postal, crashed the Ark into the planet, killing almost every one of the religious folks there. So this season kind of starts out that way. Unfortunately, the guy who is leading the atheists or the religious group at the end, he survived, and he's Marcus, and he is as psychotic as he was last season. Maybe worse, would you say,
Hasn't
Charles?
changed.
It's a different. The whole second season's got a different flavor, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's it's almost kind of. Actually, I got to a point
He's a
where
freak show.
that's Marcus there.
Yeah.
What happened? He swallowed her eyes, right? And that's why he's got the.
Yeah, so
that's the thing. The second, I'm gonna just. It's like, I'm a little worried that this is gonna go the way of Lost, where they have so much weird stuff happening.
Right.
That there's no way.
Go by the way of Lost.
I know. Yeah, because Lost ended very strangely.
But I mean, the only way to solve all this crap is, well, let's just say nobody lived anyhow.
Right.
I mean, just like there's too many. There's too many references to, well, for me anyway, Roman and Greek and
religious stuff
and Egyptian gods.
It's weird.
And that's
the eyes. Well, because even the
the eyes. You're right. Yeah, and so that
So,
picture. So we should kind of explain a little bit. So Mother is this advanced, death-dealing, robotic android, right?
That's an understatement on death dealing.
Yes, right. And so she has these special eyes that she can swap out with her regular eyes, which seems like a lot of work. Couldn't they have just programmed the eyes to switch back and forth? But anyway, the eyes is a deal. So she puts in her death-dealing eyes, and then she becomes this machine, and I can't remember what they call them.
But she's combat ready at that point.
Yes, right. And so she has this scream that shatters people into vapor, and horrible. And so anyway, that Marcus guy gets a hold of her eyes, and to keep her from getting him, he swallows them.
No.
Which, of course, they've got all this deadly energy, and so that makes him even more bizarre. And why his face looks like it does, because he's got all that energy coursing through him.
Okay, I'm sorry, but you want to keep an android's eyes away from her.
Yeah.
Well, you have
and
to.
Your first thought is, I'm a swallow them.
Right. Yeah, that would not be my first choice.
Well, this is what drove me. It drove me a little nut. Just because later when she removes the eyes, she kind of pokes at him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no, I'm getting to a point like it just and so it's Mother poking at him, and he thinks he's going to be king. I think at some point somebody even calls him Rex, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Marcus.
so she poked his eyes out.
Yeah.
Which would be an Oedipus Rex reference. Followed by, and I'm just going to have to say this because it's just, I mean, this might irritate some people, but followed by him growing a giant Woody, technically.
What?
The tree.
Okay.
Oh, the tree of life thing.
So yeah, the monstrous Woody, who then Mother has to get rid of again, technically, I guess. Ruins the whole experience anyway.
Yeah. It's
so
so strange.
Oh gosh. And then, and I'm just going to, because And they keep making Romulus and Remus references between two of the boy children.
Yes, right.
And of
It's
course, with
just-
her and there's the Isis and Osiris, and they brought Grandma back from wherever.
Grandma.
Well, he has a new golden android friend, right? That he rebuilt.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was
So
weird.
there's so the two androids that are sent to this new world to
Mhm.
raise these atheist children. One is called Mother, and the other one's called Father, and both great actors. I think they do a great job in their roles. And anyway, in season 2. Well, in season 1, we know that this world is a little bit bizarre. It's not necessarily devoid of life. We just don't see any other life at this point, so we're not sure what happened to it. But there's all kinds of references and sort of leading you to believe that maybe there's some semblance of this race that was here still around. But anyway, in season 2, Father comes across, not this full body that you see laying on here, but pieces of what look like
Skeleton.
that skeletal cartilage or whatever. And so he gets a big bag and just starts collecting all these pieces, and then putting it back together on this table to try to figure out what this thing actually was. And so he gets to a point where it looks like maybe it's an android body. But then through some events that happen, Father takes a little damage, and he's bleeding out this android energy fuel from his body, and some of it lands on this completely alien android who can somehow manage to use that same fuel and start rebuilding itself, even though it's been probably dead for centuries. So Father sees that happening and realizes, oh, well, maybe if I give it more of this fuel, it can fully
Because what could
reassemble
go
itself,
wrong?
which of course it does. And so now they've got this fully powered up additional android, totally alien android, that we see in the last episode that Linda and I were watching, that can fly and do all sorts of things. So so it's giving Father a little bit of extra stuff to do, I guess. A little bit, if he's got the ability to exert some control over that android, because he does explain to it that, I found you in busted pieces and I basically reassembled you and brought you back to life. If that alien android feels some sort of debt to Father for doing that, maybe Father will have some control over it, and that can somehow be used to rein in Mother, who he thinks oftentimes goes a bit too far. And because of her power and ability, in fact, she's already killed Father twice, I think, and then brought him back. He might have
kids brought him back.
What's that?
The kids brought him back.
Yeah, well, I think Mother
time.
brought him back one time because
Yeah.
she had his power supply or something, and she took it and stuck it back in because she ripped it out of his torso.
Mhm.
So maybe that might give him some leverage
weird.
over controlling Mother. I don't know.
It's just weird.
Yeah, but to go to what Charles is kind of talking about too is that this season so far has been increasingly
Disturbing.
frustrating in the point that it seems like for some reason the atheists now are starting to believe in this Mithraic sun god, right? Saul. And so there's and this seems so out of character to me. So there's a woman named Sue, although her real name is Mary, and she and her husband, who happened to be Marcus, the psycho that's running the religious group now, they were both originally atheists on Earth, fighting with the atheists. But as the world was ending, they realized they were going to be left on the planet to die. And so, as a last resort, they found two humans, a married couple that were religious, that had tickets to get on this ark to go to the New World. And so they killed them, and then they used a cosmetic android to duplicate their looks and take their place. So they went on this Mithraic ship, these two atheists, and they had a kid that belonged to the original parents that they, of course, pretended was theirs. And then they spent 15 years on the religious ship coming to the New World. And when they got there, the father, of course, was a little bit whacked out, which, I probably would have been too, spending 15 years on the ark with people like that. But anyway, they get there. And so the mother, now, as we see in season 2, her original name was Mary. She's now adopted the identity of Sue, this woman whose identity she stole. And she's a doctor. So she's the official doctor, the lead doctor now in the atheist camp. And so she's a woman of science. She's been an atheist her whole life. But now, because her son gets infected with this thing that's killing him, and she can't figure out, he's kind of gets wrapped in this cocoon, and she can't figure out how to save his life. And so she starts seeing things, and she sees these visions of slugs. And from that, she gets the idea to go and find slugs near the ocean shore and bring them back and put them on the cocoon, and they eventually eat the cocoon and save the kid's life. But before she saw the visions of the slugs, she saw a rosary, because one of the kids that's in the atheist camp is a former religious kid that was saved before the destruction of the ship. She had a rosary, and she left it in the doctor's office. So the doctor grabbed it and got on her knees and said a prayer. And so then she thinks that the vision she had of slugs were possibly sent to her by Saul, the sun god. And she tells her son, who is a religious kid, that he wanted to know how she knew how to save him, how she figured it out. And she says, well, I prayed.
And with that, we're done.
And at that point, I couldn't watch anymore. I'm like, oh, seriously? Come on. There couldn't have been another explanation. Like maybe she'd seen slugs have some effect like this at some point in the past, or even some point in the first year when they were on the planet. Maybe she saw these slugs devouring something, and somehow her subconscious was giving her this message that, get
this
these
whole
slugs.
season just sucked.
No, it's just, instead of there possibly being a scientific explanation for it, she immediately jumps to, I grabbed the rosary and I spoke to the sun god. And
they butchered everything. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't you think it just sucks?
Well, at the beginning, if you like, oh God, because the kid, they're in the cave. They kept using the allegory of the cave from Plato.
Yeah.
But it's on the not Christian, but the soul side of things. So
yeah, the Mithraics side.
Oh.
I know, that's what I feel like. I feel this whole season is just shit.
It just kind of gets exhausting watching it. But so anyway, at that point of that episode where she says, how did I save you? I prayed. I shut it off because I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I can take it anymore. But there were only 4 minutes. There were only 4 minutes left in the episode. So last night I said, all right, I'm going to push through the last 4 minutes and see where this goes. So
and it didn't go anywhere.
I was kind of glad I did, because they brought it back a little bit. And the Sue ended up saying, well, I think there's this alien intelligence somewhere on the planet, and that's where I'm getting these messages from.
And then the kid says, alien, God, are they any different?
Yeah, what's the difference? And well, I suppose the kid's got a point there in that, God's not human, so he would be an alien, right? Whether he's the Saul god or whatever. So, yeah, so that, I suppose, makes a little point. But the mother, Sue, does say that she thinks these aliens are sending this message, and so
not.
that kind of pulled it back a little bit for me. So I'm going to continue on. But yeah, it's definitely a weird season, and Sue's not the only one of the atheists that have gone over to the religious side and joined the religious group.
Sigh.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
If you made it, you haven't watched. You've watched the serpent eat the tree and all that.
I've seen the serpent in the tree, come down out of the tree, and they've got the baby serpent, but I haven't seen much.
No, that's not what I meant. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. So I'm. Yeah,
It's
I think
great.
there's 2 more episodes out that we haven't seen yet. So we're
okay. Yeah. Well, and I think there's still another one coming, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so.
The final one.
It didn't feel like it had ended. So
Right.
Well,
but
he
yeah,
hacked up,
it got the yeah. Anyway,
he
Yeah.
hacked up her eyeballs. She got those back, so that's
Mother has
Yeah.
her eyeballs back, so she's back to this killing machine. And the atheist.
How did she get the eyeballs back?
Well,
she poked him out.
Oh,
she went in and got him down his throat, didn't she?
Yeah, kind of like a magnetic thing. She she kind of kept poking at him until they came out from the stomach up out of his mouth.
Yeah,
It was
and then she stuck him back in her head, and then
just like that.
Oh,
did she wash him off first?
No,
Nope.
there's no. So they were by the ocean. They were by the ocean, but you can't really wash them off in the ocean because the ocean's acid.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, I'm actually really intrigued to start season 2 now because it sounds like it's all over the place. And
yeah, it is.
I'd be ready for it to be. I just be ready for it to be all over.
Right.
I think if I had known how, maybe it would have been more enjoyable. But I was expecting it to be like first season.
Yeah. I mean, the first season all along, up until the last episode, was really good. And then the last episode was like jumping the shark almost to me.
So question, and then we can move on to the
well, it jumped the flying serpent.
Do we think they're trying to do too much? Are there too many themes here?
Yes.
Religiously or whatnot that they're trying to do with Raised by Wolves? And do you think if they cut back on that,
I don't know,
it would help?
Is it
Yes,
too many or
but
just...
it's so weird because I was wondering in the first season why they called it Raised by Wolves still.
Yeah.
Well, in the second season, they make a bunch of Romulus and Remus. Do I got that right? Yeah, references. And so it's as if it was meant to be like 5 seasons long or something. You're going to have the kids grow up.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think they're setting up a battle between Paul and what's the kid's name? Not Corian, but
I mean, the kids would grow up
Campion.
in the series then. So
yeah, Campion and Paul. I think they're setting them up because Campion's the atheist, Paul's the religious kid of mother and father, and so it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But
but the feeling is for me was there was too.
They're doing a
too
lot.
many references to Roman and Greek metaphors and Egyptian.
Yeah.
And allegories and.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and it's hard to tell where they're going with it or what point they're trying to make, I think, but we'll see. I've made a commitment with myself to finish season 2 and see where it goes.
Okay.
So we'll see. But yeah, it's an interesting show, and it's well filmed, and the special effects are really good in it, and the acting is really good in it. It's just kind of taking all these weird turns, and these giant flying serpents now we're finding on the planet.
Well, her baby, her number 7 baby.
Yes, she calls the serpent her 7th baby.
That's where I got
all right,
lost.
consensus. So basically with Raised by Wolves, it's a watch it or skip.
Right. Yep.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the Adam Project, which Lynn and I watched last night. Chris, I think you saw it yesterday.
Yep.
Have you seen it, Charles?
I watched a little bit of it. I fell asleep.
Okay. And Seth, I don't think you've seen it yet, right?
Nope. I want to. I mean, it only came out this week, didn't it?
Yeah.
So,
so
I
you know
haven't
what?
seen it yet.
Yeah,
but
we
it's
should
definitely on my list.
Yeah. So, well,
it's cute.
Yeah, Linda and I really loved it. Chris, what did you think? What was your overall?
I loved it as well. And what the best part about it was obviously, so with the Adam Project, has a bit to do with the time travel. Young Adam, or I'll just call him young Ryan Reynolds, because as an actor, the kid is like a Ryan Reynolds in the making.
Yeah.
Meets his older self, who's come back from the future to fix some things. And there's a part in the movie where his dad is ranting on about how you can't mess with time travel and there's all these things that go wrong with it. And the whole time Adam's just like, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. It's fine. It's whatever. It just, I think we can get into the arguments over what works in time travel and what doesn't, but as a movie, it was enjoyable, very enjoyable. It was very funny, plenty of action.
Lots of laughing.
It was a 9 out of 10 for me.
Yep. Me too.
Yeah, I thought it was really good, and I thought the way they did the time travel stuff was interesting as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of hilarious interaction between the young Adam and the old Adam. The young Adam, it's hilarious. He's a kid in grade school, and he's got a stereotypical nerd kid. He's got
inhaler.
Yeah, he's got the inhaler. He plays video games. He's kind of a weakling. He's picked on by the bullies in school. And when he meets his older self and eventually figures out that is his older self, Ryan Reynolds is buff. And I think he's been shot. He got shot trying to escape back into time. And so he's got his shirt off, kind of tending to his wounds there. But of course, he's all buffed out, and the kid goes, "Oh my God, I look awesome. I'm buffed out. I'm, all this."
He even goes over there to
like,
poke his
when does
muscle.
this happen?
Yeah.
When does this happen?
Older Adam is like, "Don't do it. Don't poke me. Don't touch me.
Don't do it."
Because the little kid's like, "Wow, you're jacked."
When does this happen?
It's hilarious.
It was hilarious. And and we actually see a point where the older Adam and the younger Adam are out there trying to pick up some medical supplies, and they run into the two bullies that pick on the younger Adam. And the older Adam comes out of the store, and the bullies think, "Oh,
he knows their
we're
names,
screwed, right?" But he says, "Oh, you two assholes," and it's like, "Don't go anywhere." So he takes the younger Adam off to the side, and he says, "All right,
this is your chance.
Here's your chance, man. You're gonna go over there. You're gonna act like this is your day. You just wait, because this guy doesn't want to fight. He doesn't really want to fight you, and you're gonna act like this is your day, and then you're gonna drop to your knees and punch him right in his smoky banana or something like that."
Smoky banana.
I can't remember.
Smoke that banana.
The kid went up to him then. Young Adam went up to the bully and completely does not what they talked about. And I think just during the intense moment, he was like, "I'm going to smoke your banana," or something like that. And Ryan Reynolds is like, no, that's not what we talked about.
No, that's not it at all.
So, and there was a lot of in the movie, there's a lot of young Adam coming up with these weird phrases the whole time that don't make any sense, or they're just off the wall. But it was true. The kid had a good delivery where it was really Ryan Reynolds-esque. So if you like Ryan Reynolds' humor, you get you get two versions of it in this. You get what was Ryan Reynolds like as a kid, and what was Ryan Reynolds like as himself. So it was pretty good.
It was cute.
Yeah, I liked it, and I liked I thought it was a particularly touching scene when Ryan Reynolds is in the bar and his mom comes in,
Yeah.
and they had that whole discussion there. And I thought that was really a good scene. I like that a lot.
Yeah, for a funny movie, because it's Ryan Reynolds, right? So you laugh and you laugh and you laugh. It's still, I mean, at the end, I cried. It was
Yeah,
that
if you're a
good. It
single
was,
mom struggling to take care of a kid, they
Right.
really dig into that. They don't brush over it lightly. She's struggling, and it was awesome to see. Because in this movie, young Adam is he's a dick to his mom. He really is, and he's got issues obviously because his father's no longer around, and so he struggles with that. And older Ryan Reynolds has, older Adam. I'm just gonna call him older Ryan, whatever. He regrets how he treated his mom. He knows he treated her like garbage, and so while he has the chance, he gives her some words of confidence there and says, hey, let him know that you're in pain, and know that he actually does love you, and takes steps to try and fix that. So
right, and don't act like you don't have to act like this isn't bothering you, like you're over it or whatever. For his sake, he needs to see you vulnerable. He needs to see the pain.
Don't act like you're strong enough to not worry about it or not show it.
Right. No, it was a very touching scene. I really liked it. A lot of emotion there and very well acted, I thought.
I want to touch on the action.
Yeah,
there's some really cool fight scenes in this that had some things that I don't typically see. And Adam that comes from the future has this really sweet dual
lightsaber.
Dual-bladed lightsaber.
We'll call it what we can as best as we can relate to. It's like a lightsaber thing, almost like was it Kylo? No, it wasn't Kylo. It was somebody else. I thought
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul. Yeah, thank you. It was like a saber thing, like Darth Maul. So, and he could do some pretty cool things with it. So
even little Ryan, he's like, "Oh my God, you have a lightsaber!"
Right? And he goes, "No, don't call it that. It's not a lightsaber."
It's a pretty sweet weapon. When he slams it into the ground, it generates this force that blows enemies back, which was pretty sweet. And you can use it to propel yourself around the battlefield as well, which was pretty awesome. So. But there's a scene later on in the movie where young Adam finally gets his hand on it, and you think there's going to be this epic thing that happens or whatever. And of course, it's like in any other movie where just before an epic action takes place, somebody falls in their face. Is basically what happens. So, but it was good. I really enjoyed the action. It was unique. The way they had enemies dissipate because of the way time travel works is how they shortly explained it. It was pretty good. I thought they did a really good job on the action fight scenes.
Yeah, they did.
It was pretty sweet.
I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, it was really good. It was better than I thought it might be. It had
me too.
It kept me engaged the whole time, all the way to the very end. There wasn't really a boring moment. As Bill mentioned, they even take it down a step and get into some of the seriousness of parenthood and being a single parent. They cover the gamut. And so really I think it was pretty full.
Yep. And I like the end scene too. So there's some discussion there. So in the intervening year, so young Adam, when we meet young Adam, it's about a year and a half or 2 years after his father died in a car crash.
Yep.
And so he's dealing with that. The mother is dealing with that, and what we learn at a certain point, because there's a discussion between young and old Adam, basically in a picnic table, where old Adam is sort of jaded and is kind of mad at the father for never spending time with them and all this kind of thing.
Yeah, all the daddy issues.
Yeah, and the young Adam says, "Well, what are you talking about? Because here's what I'm seeing.
Here's what I remember.
Yeah, here's what I remember, and he's busy, but the older Adam says, well, he bought us this pitch board to play ball with or something like that.
So he didn't have to.
So he didn't have to play ball with me. And he said, the young Adam's like, no, he said, if you think about it, you'll remember that I had been staring at that pitchboard for weeks, wanting him to buy it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And he did finally buy it for me. And every night when he would come home from work, no matter how tired he would come outside to that
And play.
pitchboard and want to play catch with me. And he said, I knew he was tired and exhausted and he'd had a long day at work, and yet he would still come out and spend that amount of time with me and dedicate that time with me. And so it was a lot of conversations like that where he was reminding the older Ryan of things he'd forgotten as a child, because he, sort of held it against his father that he had died in this car crash and left him. And that anger just kind of festered and he forgot all the good things. And so at the end of the show,
don't give it away.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's very very heartwarming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very, very good ending and very satisfying ending. And
bring your tissues.
Yeah.
It was wholesome. It was wholesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Special effects are awesome. The little lightsaber thing they have is awesome.
And the fight scenes were awesome.
And even the end where they're battling in the heart of the time reactor thing,
that was actually pretty sweet too. How they did all that.
Yeah, and that was a clever way that they took out the bad character.
I like how they just magnetized. They were just bodies going. Floop, floop.
Yeah. Well, the bad guys that were in the sort of a
steel outfits.
Yeah, they were like outfits. They reminded me of black stormtroopers, stormtroopers in the black armor or whatever, but it was metal. And so when the time machine gets destroyed, the magnetic containment, it's always magnetic containment.
Yeah, it's always magnetic, right?
Yeah, and so they all get sucked up against the reactor.
And they're just sitting there like bugs.
So awesome. Yeah, I mean the special effects in that were really good, and a lot of cool shit in that movie. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so. Yeah, it had a little bit of everything, and again, that's why the pacing was real great. It didn't really slow down at any point. It just one step to the next. What's our next step? Okay, let's do this. And it felt like it went by fast, and it wasn't necessarily a short movie, but it just kept moving. And like I said, I enjoyed all of it really.
Yeah, and we should probably mention Ryan Reynolds' reason for going back in time to this period anyway was to try to find his wife, because she was a fellow time traveler, and they would go on missions through time, and she was, I think,
she was top of her class.
Yeah, top of her class,
top time travel pilot.
Right, and so she went on a mission and never came back.
Yeah,
so he wanted to try to find out what happened. He had a suspicion as to what might have happened, and it turned out he was right. And so that whole reunion and then separation,
that was awesome.
And then reunion again. That was awesome as well. So
good show. Definitely want to watch it.
Yep. Hardly recommend it. So let's see. Do we have a question for our audience for them to think about? Maybe let us know in the comments section if we were to.
Maybe if they could travel and go back and interact with your younger self.
Yeah, would you?
What would you tell them?
Yeah, what would you tell them? What would you tell your younger self?
And I'm not. One thing I know now that I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go back to my younger self and whisper Yahoo.
Whisper what?
Whisper what?
Yahoo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another movie entirely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's from a different movie, right? Where
that's like you're gonna go back in time and tell your younger self to invest in Yahoo.
Well, I'm referencing
actually, yes. Depending on how far back, that would not be a bad idea.
Right. You just have to get out of it.
But then you also have to tell them when to sell.
Yeah,
right. That's from the movie Frequency, and actually when that came out, Yahoo was through the roof.
Yeah.
So he told his younger self to buy Yahoo, and then, of course, that changes his future. So he's driving around in fancy
cars,
sports cars, and everything
from his Yahoo money,
which he then lost when Yahoo collapsed because he didn't know to get out. So, Yeah. What advice would you give your younger self if you could go back in time?
leave us a comment.
Yeah. Let us know.
Do we want to answer that? Like you answered that. What
Yeah.
about Linda, Chris?
I said what I wouldn't tell my younger self.
Oh, for me, that's easy.
No.
Probably buy Bitcoin. Yeah.
Buy Bitcoin. All right.
Linda?
I always thought that if I went back and saw my younger self or met my younger self, the only thing I would tell myself is it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay.
Nice.
I mean, that's a message that may change any day now.
This is true.
Good point.
That's fair.
Then you'll have to go back and tell your younger self it's not going to be okay.
Right. Live life to the fullest while you can. Enjoy every moment because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. All right, Seth, how about you?
It's kind of similar to Linda's. Like, okay, just hold on. You're going to be all right.
Yeah.
Turns out nerds are cool in the future. You're going to have more video games than you could ever play. Ever. Like, that's going to be your problem. It's like,
What
Right.
game am I going to play next?
Right. All right, Charles,
Don't
talking to
know.
your younger self. What are you
Actually,
telling him?
I'm old enough that I could have whispered Microsoft,
There you go.
but
I mean, yeah, I'd also give myself some really good investing hints.
Google,
Yeah.
Amazon, Microsoft.
Berkshire Hathaway.
I don't.
Berkshire, yeah.
No thoughts?
Not really.
All right. All right. All right. Well, yeah, let us know what you guys think. I think that's it for this week.
All right.
So anyway, thank you all for listening. We will catch you next time. Have a great week, as I just said already twice. You can never say that enough in this particular
No, you
time
can't.
frame, right?
You cannot.
Enjoy it while you can. Take care, and we will see you next episode. And once again, I've completely forgotten to get on the right screen here.
Click, click,
God
click.
damn it, Bill.
God damn it. All right, guys. Toodles. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Galactic Driftwood podcast. For more information and past episodes, please visit our website at galacticdriftwood.space or subscribe to us on YouTube. And now, please deactivate your cranial downlinks, collect your towels, and be sure to watch your step as you exit our gravity well.